everyone, my name is Welsknight. You have probably never heard of me because this is my first video. So, basically I've been watching some of the stuff here, various videos, Heir of Carthage, and a whole bunch of different stuff on YouTube about Rome Total War 2, which just came out. And there's some stuff where they're questioning how to go through the UI and some of that kind of stuff. So, and I know some of these answers, so I figured I'd put out a video and go over some of it, and hopefully you'll learn some stuff. So let's get right into it. First and foremost, let's talk about authority, cunning, and zeal. This is something that a lot of people seem to not notice. When you have a character, you will see their authority, their cunning, and their zeal down here. You'll have a little number next to them, 3, 3, and 4, in this case, with this general. And with generals and admirals, those actually correspond directly to skills that they get in battle. So authority grants access to inspire and one other one too. Let me see if I can find a general that's a little higher up there. That guy just died, so I needed to replace him. There we go. Yeah, so general, with 7 authority, you get inspire and rally. Inspire is unlocked at 4, and I believe rally is unlocked at 6 authority. Cunning gives you access to second wind and one other.
Ready for orders. At your command.
Okay, so my guys don't really have a whole lot of cunning.
Commander, ready for battle.
Let's see if maybe I can switch him up a little bit so that he does have more cunning. Cunning. 1 second here, and we'll get to some of this other kind of stuff in a minute. Let's see if that will make anything a little better. Yeah, second win and one other one, and then zeal gives you access to war cry and I believe intimidate is the second skill. I don't remember the skills off the top of my head. If you want to leave a comment that goes over that, please feel free to do so. When you recruit a new force, you can see their various stats and whatnot when you recruit them. So say I want to recruit this guy. There's a little gold star right here, and this will tell me his effects. And then over here I can see his authority, cunning, and zeal as well. So what I always try to do is find a guy who's got a little bit higher cunning or a little higher authority, because sometimes they'll come right out of the bat with 3, 3, and 4, or sometimes I've even seen 5, 4, and 4, any of that kind of stuff. They can be actually pretty decent starting out. The other thing, when you're recruiting new guys, they will have a house assigned to them. This guy's House of Junia, House of Cornelia, and other houses. That's going to correspond with your faction window, and we'll get into that later. So that's recruiting stuff. Now, as far as agents also are affected by cunning, zeal, and authority. I think my spy that I was using died last turn in this game. This is just a random game I dropped myself into. This one's a Rome campaign. But all this stuff applies equally to all factions and whatnot, of course. So if I recruit an agent, let's say I want this guy. Now, you can see here, he's got 3, 2, 1. He's got 4, 2, and 1. So this is going to be a better patrician than this guy, because he starts with higher stats right off the bat. So that would be a good option. Those guys are all the same, and those guys are also all the same. So if I do this guy, he's got some pretty useful stuff going on. I'm going to recruit him right down here. There we go. So we'll recruit him. Now, agents are kind of the same thing. They get effects and whatnot from these various authority, cunning, and zeal. Authority, when a stat is at 3, it has no negative effects, but it doesn't really have any positive effects either. When it's above 3, it starts giving you positive effects, and if it's below 3, it hurts you. So like this guy, since he only has 1 zeal, he has a minus 20% chance of wounding the enemy when they attack him, or when they try to subvert him or assassinate him or whatever. And those can be raised. There's a lot of different benefits here, but I think you all kind of get the idea as far as authority, cunning, and zeal goes. Actually, the other thing is, when you have an agent and you go to make them spy or whatnot, actually, I'm just going to end turn so I can show you guys. When you go to make them spy or assassinate someone or sabotage or whatever it is, they're going to have very often 3 actions that they can pick from. And those 3 actions, once again, correspond to authority, cunning, and zeal. So your authority action, if you have good authority, is going to be a lot more likely to succeed than if you try a cunning action and you only have 1 cunning. I'll show you an example in a minute here. You'll have to bear with me. My computer is not top of the line like some of you, so it takes a little while for me to end the turn. But we can talk about some other stuff while I'm waiting here. Overall, I've not really had a lot of problems with the AI. I know some people have. I haven't had any game-breaking glitches or anything like that. Overall, I really don't have a whole lot to complain about with the new game. I know a lot of people are up in arms because it did not meet their expectations, especially for launch. And, you know, if that was you, I get where you're coming from. Personally, I haven't had any issues with it. I haven't had AI issues. I haven't had game-ending crashes. I haven't had any of the various issues that are causing people problems. Although I do experience lag here and there, but, you know, as I said, my computer is not top of the line. It's not a bad computer, but it's not great either. So I don't really expect myself to be able to play with the graphic settings turned all the way up on newer games like this. But let's see. Looks like we're getting up into the S's here, so hopefully this turn will be done pretty soon. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we got some new stuff. We got research done. And yeah. Okay, cool. So, with an agent, there's a few things you can do. If I bring him down here, you'll see I've got different actions that I can pick from. Once again, since this guy has higher cunning, this cunning action is more likely to succeed than these other ones. So, the other thing that agents can do, you can't garrison agents in your cities anymore, like in previous Total War games. However, there's a little button down here for administration in this guy's case, or spies will establish a spy network. Champions, I believe, will rally your populace. And basically what that does is it gives you pretty much the same effects that you got in previous Total War games with your agents. It's just that when you do it, they'll do it right here on the campaign map. You don't actually have to put them inside your city, and then it provides that balance to your whole province. Now, let's see. Let's talk about the tactical map. The tactical map is a new feature in Rome 2. Just hold down the tab key to access it. You can do that both in battle and on the campaign map. I'm just going to talk about the campaign map one because the in-battle tactical map is pretty self-explanatory. What I like about this map is it shows me the resources that are available in various provinces. So if I want to get access to stone, to marble, I can come up here and I can take out these guys, and then once I have this little province, I'll have their marble. You know, same down here with this timber. I took this province so I could get timber, and so on and so forth. There's a few different options down here as far as how you can look at it. The one I'm in right now is faction ownership. So this is the stuff that I own. These are the ones that are neutral to me, and these guys, they don't like me very much. I'm at war with them. This is owned by rebels, and this is owned by the Mauritania, who I am currently whooping up on in a war. Or I'm sorry, that was the diplomatic status what I was looking at. Next one would be faction ownership. This will show you which faction owns each various province. So the stuff that's in this dark red is me. This one, even though it's similar color, is not actually me. You can see there's a very slight deviation. This is more of an orange, mine's more of a dark red. But that'll just give you a quick overview of, you know, here's what is controlled by who and all that good stuff. You've got public order. This will show me that these provinces I control are very high in public order. I don't have to worry about any revolts. This one's not super high, but it's not super low. It's kind of a middle green, and then the red, you know, show me I've got some public order problems over there because I just captured these. Region wealth will show me where a bunch of my money's coming from. I'm getting a lot of money from Carthago right now. These other ones, I've got some wealth up there too, and all this good stuff. Just gives you kind of a quick overview. And then last but not least would be region growth. This is going to show the growth rate in your various provinces and territories. So, for the purposes of the game, provinces would be whole sections. So like up here, I've got Rome, and the Rome province is made up of Roma, Neapolis, Velathri, and Ariminum, whatever that is. If I butchered the pronunciation, it is what it is. Now, each one of these individual towns is considered a settlement. So when you look at your objectives and it says control X number of settlements or X number of provinces, that's what it's talking about. 25 settlements would be 25 towns. 6 provinces would be entire groups of towns, if you haven't figured that out yet. So, let's see. Where was I? Let's talk about this UI a little bit here. This is something that's confused a lot of people. I've got my various towns here as part of Roma. I can upgrade them, I can convert them to other types of buildings, I can dismantle, all that good stuff. And that's all pretty self-explanatory. What a lot of people don't notice about this little UI is you've got some little symbols down here. So if I want to check the garrison force for, say, Neapolis, where I don't have any troops or navy stationed, I can hover my mouse over this little castle and this will tell me, okay, if someone attacks Neapolis, this is what I will have there automatically, just by default. And I will also have those navies there because I've got a port. There's also a handy-dandy little population surplus icon up here. This will tell me how fast my towns are growing, what growth rate they're at, and how close I am to being able to upgrade. So like, for example, Roma, I can expand this city when I have 5 population surplus. Right now I only have 2, and it's growing in a few different... One second here, I got an alarm going off. Gotta go to class in a bit. I've got a growth rate here. There's some various things that are affecting my growth rate. It gives me kind of a breakdown. So that's one thing that some people have been missing. Let's see, forces. Oh, when you get to upgrade a force, when you have like a little, not so much when you can upgrade like their armor or retrain them to another type of unit, but when you win a battle with one of your armies, or when you successfully complete an action with one of your agents, you can pick new traits for them, which is great. When you get to the point where you're controlling a fairly large number of forces, one thing you can do is you can click on this forces icon right here. It will give you an overview and it will list all of your agents, armies, and navies. And when you can upgrade one of those various armies, navies, or agents, they'll have a little chevron, like a little yellow arrow on them, so you can just quickly get to them. You don't have to search around the entire map for them to find them, which is kind of nice. There's also your event messages. This is your provinces. This is a nice little overview telling you how your provinces are doing at a glance. So Magna Graecia, for example, I'm good on food. I'm actually to the point where I'm exporting food. Everyone's happy. I'm getting this much money. And if I want to quickly get to them so I can see what buildings and stuff, I can just click them there. I find it easier to navigate the map that way instead of searching for each and trying to remember you know, which province is named what and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of nice. As far as provinces go, there's also a nice little province detail icon right here. So when you're in a province, you can click on that. Public order, culture, all this stuff applies to the entire province, not just to one settlement. So that's a little bit different than previous Total War games. If you have public order in Lilybomb, I'm also going to have public order problems in Syracuse as well, because they're both part of the same province. It's not by city, it's by entire province as far as public order and culture goes. So this will just tell me, you know, culture at a glance, what's making people happy, what's making them unhappy. Same goes for culture, although this is a bad example because that one's 100% Latin. Let's get down here. Here we go. I've got Latin culture here. I've got desert nomadic culture in this province as well, because I'm not entirely in control. This was originally held by people from North Africa, so some of that other culture is here, and that is affecting my my cultural, my happiness, my public order as well, because there's some cultural differences that are currently making a -6 impact on my public order. This will tell me here under this little culture icon, we just hover over it, changes what's influencing it, just like a lot of the other things here as well. Same goes for you know, just one thing that about Rome 2 is just about everything seems to have a tooltip. So when in doubt, hover your mouse over it, see if anything pops up. So that's kind of nice. Let's see. Let's talk about the factions window. This is the factions window. Once again, you get to it by just clicking on your little faction symbol here. It's going to have a bunch of information on here. It's going to have any stuff that's going on with your faction. Rome, you know, it's going to tell you those bonuses you get right when you first start off the campaign. It's also going to give you kind of current events buffs or debuffs as well. So right now I have a pretty substantial food surplus, 47 food. So that's giving me +5 growth per turn in all provinces, plus 20% unit replenishment in all regions. From time to time you'll have events happen, like a little thing will pop up and say political intrigue or something needs your attention. I don't have an example because there's not one in place right now. But when something like that happens, you can go into this window, and usually they'll be right up at the top here above your house or your faction or whatever whatever you happen to be. And it'll be something that needs your attention. You get to make a decision. It may hurt you. It may hurt you a little less than if you leave it alone. It may help you. There's a bunch of different things going on there, but that'll be in this window as well. When you go back to the summary, this is, I think, the easiest way to find out who your trading partners are, because for some reason in the diplomatic menu it doesn't list all your trade partners. You have to individually go into each faction that you're trading with and find out if you have a trade treaty or not. So in your diplomacy here, I can see all the people I'm trading with, who I'm at war with, all that good stuff. That's there as well. This is how noteworthy your faction is. The higher this green bar gets, the more armies you can control, the more fleets, spies, etc. So this, you want it to be up higher and higher. I haven't actually had a campaign yet where I've gotten it all the way up at the top, but I have a feeling everyone will basically attack me at once. That's kind of been the going trend for previous Total War games. Let's see. Now, as far as political stuff goes, this is something I'm still not exceptionally clear on. I think I've kind of got it a little bit, but not entirely. How much influence you have is shown up here. You're always going to be represented here at the top one. I'm House of Julia, so House of Julia is on top. There's some other houses as well. So we've got the House of Cornelia, House of Junia, and the other houses. You want this to be as high as possible. Gravitas are right here. It says it represents a character's importance and contributes to their influence. The higher their gravitas, the higher the chance of increasing this influence. So I guess you want your people to be high in gravitas. I'm still not exactly entirely sure what how this whole thing works, but if you have some insight to share, please do so, because I think this is one where everybody is basically lost. Let's see, objectives. You've got an objectives window here. One thing a lot of people haven't noticed is that on your main objectives, right now I'm on one for control 25 settlements, you'll have several sub-objectives. here, and so on and so forth. Each one that you complete will increase your reward for completing the main objective. So here, if I complete this, 25 settlements, but I don't do any of these, I'll be rewarded with 75 gold or coin or whatever the proper monetary unit is. For each one of these I complete, I get a little bonus. Like this one, I get 5,000. I've already done all the things for this, so I'm going to have an extra 5,000 coming when I get 25 settlements. 3,000 here, so that adds 8,000 together between these two. So there's a way to get a pretty good amount of money if you actually go through and do these bonus objectives. You don't have to do them, they're completely optional, but a lot of times it really only makes sense as well. Some of these are just going to be naturally happening as you expand your empire. And then you've got your, of course, objectives that will finish the game. Active missions, sometimes you get a mission like, hey, you should recruit a champion, or hey, you should do this. And those will show up right here. Those aren't actually in here as bonus objectives. You don't usually get a whole lot of money for them, and but if you complete them, you get a reward right away. Like you might be a little bonus for a couple of turns, or 500 gold, or whatever it is. So that's the objectives overview. Now, when you capture a new settlement that's owned by a culture different than yours, very often you'll see a building with this little triangle on it with the exclamation point. This means that I can't upgrade this building. I can't get any garrison from it. I can't do anything like that until I convert it over to my culture. However, that's really the only bad thing as far as I can tell. So this one, seafood market, it's given me 12 food, 60 wealth, and an additional 4 food when I have bread and games enacted. So I'm just going to leave that one. It's not really hurting me. It's not helping me a whole lot as far as garrison and stuff goes, but it's really not that big of a deal. So those you don't have to convert over instantly as soon as you capture a territory. It doesn't seem to hurt your public order or your cultural conversion rate or any of that kind of stuff. So let's see. Public order, culture. Oh, yes. Okay. Here, public order. We already kind of talked about this. This will tell you some of the various things that are hurting and helping your public order. The ones that I'm going to hit on for the most part are going to be slaves. One option when you when you defeat an enemy army, you'll have the option sometimes to enslave the people that you captured, and that will help you or hurt you. Slaves, in this case, I'm getting a little bit of an economic boost from them. I'm getting 7 gold per turn, but they're also hurting my public order. I don't have a whole lot of slaves in this province, but I do, I believe, up here in Rome. So here we go. Slaves, I've got a little bit more, 49 gold per turn. Public order penalty, once again, a little higher because of slaves. So that's how slaves help and hurt you. You can find the effects right here. Let's see. One thing that's new with Rome is that armies can be moved into water. So, just like so. Now, you'll notice he went all the way around. The reason for that is if you have an army and you put him into the water at a port, it will not use up your entire move, your movement points for the entire turn if you go into water at a port. If I were to just take him off the beach and put him in, that's going to use the entire turn's movement points by putting him in it. So that's why he went all the way around. And now you'll see, even though it was within the bubble, basically, he had to go to ground right there, and that's why his movement was hurt. You can garrison your armies into settlements. It'll help your public order. This one's already at 100%, so not really that big of a deal. Let's see. Town growth, we already talked about. Tech tree. Oh, edicts. Let's talk about edicts and stances a little bit. You can issue edicts when you control all of the settlements in a province. So here I've already got an edict issued elsewhere. Currently I'm allowed to issue 2 edicts per turn. Let me see, where am I issuing edicts? Here we go. So I'm currently doing bread and games, gives me 4 public order, or 4 food, 6 public order. I really don't need the public order booster anymore, so I'm actually going to change that. Let's see, we got 10% tax rate, 15% wealth from commerce buildings. Let's do this one, and that will help me get those up. But those will affect everyone in the province, and they will last until you turn them off or switch them to a different edict. So, now armies and navies kind of have the same thing. They've got stances, and there are different stances you can do. Right now he's in no stance. I can put him into forced march, which will then take his movement range from about here all the way to over here. So it basically doubles his movement range. However, he is unable to initiate battles, and he can't muster any new units, and it hurts his morale and whatnot if he actually does get attacked. So it is good for getting across the map very quickly, but what I usually do is I'll move him up to, say, if I was taking him down to attack Lepsis, I would bring him down to about here or so with forced march, and then take him out on the next turn and attack. The other stances are going to be fortify, ambush, and raiding. Now, you'll notice that there is a cost associated with each of these stances. If you start an army in forced march, he's going, and you move him at all, he is locked into forced march. So be careful with that. And he will also stay in that for continued turns as well. So make sure you remember to take him out of forced march when you're about to attack something. But as far as the other stances go, as long as this movement range here stays above this little white arrow, I can basically switch him around. So if I want to get him to, say, here or so, and then lay an ambush, you'll see there it's above the white arrow. If I want to put him into, say, fortify, he will do so. So now he's fortifying this position in case Thapsus decides to attack me. Now, let me see if I can find it.
Commander.
Yeah, I should probably talk about the detail window a little bit. There's some various stuff in the detail window here. You're going to have Army or Navy traditions. Those will last regardless of how long your general lives. If your general dies, or if, you know, of old age or in battle, they'll still keep their traditions. You can also revive traditions if the whole army gets wiped out. By hitting this reinstate legacy button, I can pick one of these, and then any traditions that that army had will be reinstated with that new force that I raise. Your general guy is going, or your admiral, or whatever it is going to have traits. Household, you're going to accumulate a whole bunch of different people that he can carry along with him, and then skills. Those will be over here. One of the traditions that I really like,
Commander,
is this one, Stalwart Defenders. Those defenses are not just when you're in a defensive stance. Those are whenever you get attacked. So barricades are useful for kind of funneling the enemy. Fireballs roll downhill. Spike traps are pits that the enemy will fall into. And caltrops are very damaging to cavalry. Different factions seem to have different defenses. I believe on my, I think it was my Parthia campaign, instead of spike traps, I got fire pits. But basically, you can use them whenever you're attacked, regardless of whether you're in the defensive stance or not, or the fortify stance or not. So that's kind of a nice thing. That's one of my favorite traditions for that reason. Now, as far as the tech tree goes, you got the tech tree here. The first one you're going to have to research to get to either military or economic technologies is going to be this one and this one right here. That will then open up these other tech trees for you. The ones that I personally have found most useful are going to be your barracks buildings under this chain, because it will allow you to get better units, and usually it's this one, I believe, that gives you the first, maybe it's this one gives you the first halfway decent units, and then this one gives you some of your better stuff. I mean, right now I can already recruit what are they called?
At your command.
Praetorians. I can already recruit Praetorians, and it's only 215 BC, so I'm not even 100 turns in yet, and I can already bring out some of the better units. So that's that's a pretty good building to get. As far as other technologies go, I like town growth, because it will allow me. Just kidding, it's over. Here we go. These two you can do in 5 turns to get +4 town growth in all provinces. That's a pretty useful one. Tax rate, -10 corruption's pretty nice. You can see corruption in some of my areas. Where is it? Here we go, corruption. So I'm getting -15 corruption. That's hurting my bottom line as far as income from this province goes. So corruption is bad. It detracts from the money that you get. But that's all in there as well. I mean, overall, the tech tree I usually will research to about here or so, and then start focusing on some of the economic stuff. One other one I try to get out of the way really quickly is this one for workshop, because the workshop, or whatever the corresponding building is, depending on faction, of course, will allow you to get basic siege weapons. And ballista are awesome. They're cheap. You can get them fairly early in the game, and they work very, very well for attacking fortified settlements. Like Rome, for example, you can see it has a wall around it. With the ballista, I can just knock down the wall, and I don't have to go through the gates. I don't have to do any of that. It doesn't take me a turn to build battering rams or ladders or anything like that. So I always try to keep a ballista or two with my armies that I use for going out and attacking. And also, the enemy will like to garrison troops on top of the wall. The ballista, when it can knock down the wall, and any troops that are on top of that section of the wall at the time will die. And sometime, depending on your difficulty level, the AI may move them or it may not. I am a big fan of ballista personally, but that's just me. I think that's pretty much all I can think of right now. If you have anything else you'd like to know, feel free to put a comment in. I will be happy to answer it as best I can. And that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching, and you have a good one. Yep, bye-bye.